Well, we got a little bit of good news today. We are going to be able to take some calls today. So tell your friends and neighbors. I know for the last several days we've been void of telephone calls, which I think is, major part of what we do here at 97.5 The Fanatic, the lifeblood, sort of, where we communicate with fans out there. So we're going to be able to take it. And today is General Knowledge Wednesday. So that's the good news. So now let's get to better news here. In the sports world, with the Philadelphia Eagles, there is not one soul in America, well, at least here, that would think signing Saquon Barkley to an extension is a bad idea, right? You reward guys that play their heart out. You look at the character of a guy. You look at a guy that's always going to be a hard worker, and you put your dollars in that. And I don't care that he's going to be 31 at the end of this contract extension. At age 31, he's still going to be a pretty good player. So I laud the Philadelphia Eagles for rewarding one of their key players. I don't know that they had to, frankly. He's making $12.5 million, and so this now makes him the highest paid running back in the league, which he deserves because he's the best running back in the league. But this is one of those deals where I go, they didn't really have to do this. They spent extra cap money on this situation, but it was worth it. Okay, so I have absolutely no beefs at all with the Saquon Barkley extension. And we have a running back that we don't have to worry about for the next several years, like 5 years. It's a beautiful thing. But Bill Colarulo is here. Ray Dunn will join us in a little bit. Our man filling in today is, I don't know. I've had a checker pass with this guy.
Yeah, he's got
a gun.
He's got weird views,
he's with
man.
us today.
Listen, my team lost last night, so it's all right.
I don't know who your team is. You're Nova, you're Temple, you're Notre Dame, you're everywhere. Next thing you're going to find out you're a Cowboys fan. I don't know where your allegiances lie.
Yeah, well, in any event, Bill, I know that, first of all, Bill's got a beef going, which is fantastic, and it relates to this whole situation. It's a beautiful thing, because we're going to compare this situation to the Terrell Owens non-extension, non-negotiation way back in the day in 2006 that blew the Eagles apart, frankly, and it was bad judgment by the front office. This is good judgment by the front office. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think this is good judgment by the front office to reward Saquon Barkley. See, I know you said earlier they didn't have to do this.
They didn't have to do it.
And you're right, they didn't have to do it because he's still under contract. But what makes a lot of sense is not only are you rewarding the guy, but it's all being estimated. There's no details yet about the cap hits, but it appears as if they're going to also save money against the cap this season by giving him the big bonus, by guaranteeing some money early and spreading money down now with a 2-year extension. You can lower his cap hits. So you've accomplished a lot. You've rewarded a guy who literally had, as Howie Roseman said, the best season by an offensive player in NFL history. Hard to argue with that when you look at the numbers. So you rewarded him. You also now get him for that extra 2 seasons because the original deal was 3 years. And if you remember, that third year, people were saying, well, maybe the Eagles can move on from him in that third year if things don't work out. Well, now you guarantee he's here for at least another 2 years on top of it, which is great. But more importantly, you lower his cap hit this season, which allows you to maybe keep a Zach Bond, maybe a Mekhi Becton. So I like it.
That's fair. But here's the difference in the organizations now that Howie Roseman is there. Howie likes to spread goodwill. Now, maybe behind the scenes, the sly, he's saving a couple dollars here, a couple dollars there. But he does believe in goodwill and having players be happy. In the old regime, when we're talking about the Joe Banner regime, things were completely different. They were a lot more cutthroat. Banner had these hard and fast rules. He ruled with an iron fist. If you turn 30, I got no use for you. Once you're under contract, we try to get you in early. You get a bargain on the contract. Once we know it's a bargain and you don't realize it's a bargain, we don't care. You suffer in silence. And if you don't suffer in silence, we get rid of you. Deuce Staley's an example. John Welborn was an example. These guys that squawked about wanting a new deal out the gate, and that was the difference. Now, you happen to have some kind of beef going on with Joe Banner, and I believe that yesterday he responded to you because you brought up the Terrell Owens situation as a comparison to the Saquon Barkley thing. Explain.
Yeah, it was interesting. So I tweeted last night that if only Howie Roseman was in charge of the Philadelphia Eagles in 2005, that they would have, quote-unquote, rewarded Terrell Owens for his season where he outperformed his contract. Then you wouldn't have had the beef with Donovan McNabb. T.O. wouldn't have been doing sit-ups in his driveway back in 2005. And who knows what the next couple of seasons could have been with Andy Reid as the head coach and Donovan and T.O. being this magical duo on offense. Ironically, about 45 minutes after I did that tweet, Joe Banner doesn't quote tweet me. He doesn't respond to me, but he just ironically writes, "The Eagles today added years and moved a small percentage of new money into the existing years. They also increased guarantees. All good and smart. But T.O. was looking for a new deal at considerably higher numbers 1 year in. This idea was tried then. 21 years later, no team has still done what he wanted for anyone." So he just found the need to explain himself.
Here's where they were wrong, and here's where Joe Banner really blew that whole thing back then. Because here's the overall premise, and I remember talking about this every day. The premise was that you had acquired an insane player, and you expected him to act sane. The bottom line is he came here with a bad contract thinking he had a 7-year contract. He was not savvy enough to realize that they structured the contract where they could get out of it 2 years into it, which the Eagles thought they could do because he started to be a pain in the ass.
Yes, but you also had a season where he comes here. He plays in 14 games in the regular season because he breaks his ankle with Roy Williams doing the horse collar tackle. He has 77 catches, 1,200 yards, and 14 touchdowns in 14 games. So it was like, look, I've outperformed this deal. And then he decides, against all medical advice,
to play in
the Super Bowl. And he performs well in the Super Bowl.
Right, and he signs a waiver.
He signs a waiver. So he expected, I know T.O. was crazy, but he expected them to reward him. They don't. So Drew Rosenhaus, that's the whole next question press conference on his driveway over in Moorestown.
Well, he has fired his other agent who sent him down this road, not revealing to his own client that really this is not a guaranteed 7-year contract. They could get out of it really, really easy after 2 years after paying you nothing. Frankly, he was like the 26th highest paid wide receiver in the league. So the Eagles blew that. And this is what my point is about goodwill. Yeah, maybe you acquired a contract. You knew that was a bad contract. And instead of spreading some goodwill, making an insane guy happy, you did just the opposite. You poked the insanity in him. And it blew up the whole team.
It blew up the whole team. And then when Banner says nobody has ever done what Terrell Owens wanted, he ends up signing a 3-year extension after they release him with the Dallas Cowboys. And in Dallas, he has 3 straight seasons, 1,180 yards, 1,350 yards, and then another over 1,000-yard season and had over 10 touchdowns each one. So I think the Eagles messed that up. I think it was Joe Banner. It's just funny coming on the heels of you saying that I had a beef with Joe Banner yesterday, and now we're going at it.
Yeah, and the memes are coming out that apparently you tried to sneak a cheesesteak in and Joe didn't like it, or they had you sweeping the floors and Joe Banner ignoring you. All these memes are coming out. So we're still trying to get to the bottom of this Banner-Colarulo feud that started way back when it was just a little Bill making no money, working for free for the Eagles.
Well, it was close to free. Not as free as you used to work for, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. It turned out that I was working for free and didn't
but
know
it was close.
All right, so here's the deal. Today is General Knowledge Wednesday, and you can actually get into the show. We have this system that's trying to get around our problem. So it's a temporary system, and we're in the middle of getting the entire system replaced. But we have a temporary solution, at least for today and subsequent days, where we can take some calls and we get to you one at a time. So it's General Knowledge Wednesday. So in perfect timing for being able to take calls, 610-632-0975. Ray Dunn will be back in like 15 minutes as he got a plane and just landed. So he'll be here shortly. Brendan Gunn is filling in until then. And as we go into the break, there are a couple things I'm concerned about, Bill, that have nothing to do with what we're talking about with Saquon. One is a Philly issue. The other is a Sixer issue. I want you to think long and hard during the break on what could possibly be bothering me right now about the Phillies and what happened yesterday in that game and what happened in the Sixer game last night.
I think I know what the Sixers one is. I got to think about the Phillies one. Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll take a guess on the other side.
Obscure things. 610-632-0975 is how you get in. You can text us if you don't feel like calling us today. But General Knowledge is going to be this today. We've altered it. It's going to be the audience versus Ray versus Bill.
Oh, I can't wait.
Whoever accumulates the most points is the winner today.
Oh, Ray's going down. He's going to be all jet lagged
up
and everything.
against Ray, which is like the ultimate grudge match.
I'm looking
since
forward
you guys
to it.
have problems with one another. It's the Mike Missanelli Show right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
97.
Hey everybody, it's Bill Colarulo. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you can engage during the show, and you're not going to want to miss all the content that we post. It's not only the live videos, it's videos after the fact. It's our shorts. It's all the content you want as a Philadelphia sports fan. Looking forward to connecting.